Hi guys, it's Coach Joe Micela, Performance 1 Advanced Sports Training, 2012 Olympic team coach. We've been asked a lot about how to place your hands on the bar for the snatch. Where is your best snatch grip? And there's a couple different ways of doing that. We also asked if you're in a pinch, hey, I have a class of 10, 20 people. I'm in a high school strength conditioning class. I want to implement the snatches, but sometimes I just can't go around and measure everyone's individual arm length. There is a standard way of doing it, and then there is kind of our quick way to do it. And we're gonna go over that today. So one of the methods that we would use to measure distance of where our hand should be on the bar, there's a couple of them. One, we would ask Jessica here to put her hand outstretched, and we would take a piece of string or some type of measuring tool and measure from her outstretched fist to the outside of her shoulder. We would take that and then place that on the bar, and then she would start with her hands outside of that. Another method, usually you do that method, especially if we know someone has extra long forearms. The other method we would do is we'd have Jessica keep both her elbows up like she just did a snatch high pull. And then we would measure that distance. We would take that measurement on that string or on a tape measure, put it on the bar and say, hey, grab your hand. Both of those, you can relax. Both of those are very accurate, okay, or a good starting point, and then you're gonna move up. Every Olympic bar has what we call a snatch ring, okay? It's a little line on the bar that gives you that point of reference, okay? Whether you're gonna be on it, outside of it, or inside of it. Again, depending on the size of the individual. But now say you're in a class setting, you've got a limited amount of time. Maybe it's an hour CrossFit class, it's an hour weightlifting class. You're in a strength and conditioning program, you're trying to get snatches implemented, and you don't have time to go around and do all that. And then have the kids, you just wasted now 30 minutes of the class period. And then it's like, okay, and are the kids gonna remember it, or the athlete's gonna remember it right away? What I like to say is pick up the bar, have all the athletes pick up the bar. I'm in a group situation, I have all the athletes lined up on either side of me. I say, place the bar at the crease of your hip. If they don't know what it is, I'm gonna have her bend over just a little bit like that. She's gonna stand up. She's gonna look where that snatch line is in relationship to that. And then I may say, hey, move it out just a little bit, okay? Then I would say, all right, the bar is there. It's right at her hip. I say, take the bar and just put it over your head. In that position, real quick, I'm eyeballing, but I'm going around. Is that bar at about a 2-fist distance over her head? So if she brought her hands in closer, I know she's in excess of that movement, and I wouldn't do that. And if she was wider than that, and it was almost just to the top of her head, I'd be like, this is not ideal for the leverage of the bar. And then if she kept that same width and she's here, it's basically on her belly. Okay, and I don't want it to be there. Or if it's too narrow, it's too low away from that hip angle on her thigh. Okay, so I know. So I can now say and line a group of athletes up, 5 on a side, 5 on a side, and say, hey, put that bar in that position, and I can go immediately down and say, hey, put the bar at your hip, perfect, good. Put the bar over your head, boom. We're in a good starting position, okay? And then I bring it back down, look at where your hands are, and then just take one hand off. And she would look at the reference point of where that line is. So she's basically just on it, just to the outside of it, and say, remember that point. Again, this is a good starting point for your athlete. We just had an athlete in the gym the other day. She had been training now for several months with her initial starting values, and we said, you know what? We're gonna tweak it a little bit now. We're gonna move it out just a little bit, maybe one finger width wider, because we're gonna see. Okay, but for most people, you're doing it fast. You're saying, hey, this is a good starting point for it. It wants to be comfortable with their body. Okay, so they have that understanding of where the bar is gonna be at their hip crease when they're gonna go. This is critical. Having that bar getting set up in their hands properly and how it's feeling over their head is gonna cut down on injuries, and it's gonna increase performance and proficiency of the movements down the road. Guys, we have a lot of people that's watching our channel. We really appreciate it, but we're not having enough people sign up and like what we're doing. So please like, subscribe to our channel. Please reach out to any questions you have about our program.